Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course. Excited to have you along for the ride tonight. Episode number 308 on deck. Coming at you here, we're going to be talking a lot about NAPA WinterSLAM. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Unified Point Series. We're going to be talking with Ed Brewster. Ed, in his words, is freaking out about 2020. So I'm really excited to hear what he's got planned. He's got Motorama coming up this week. I leave for Motorama down in Harrisburg on Thursday night to go down. We're going to get together with Adam Gerald and Alfie Adams to build the oval track, which has now been moved into the spare barn out of the shadow of the 1/10 scale track. So I'm not going to see Ed at all. We're in completely different sides of the complex now.
And it's a big complex.
But the oval track for the sprint cars and late models is going to be 100 by 50. So it's almost a true 1/10 scale quarter mile track, which is really cool. So they got all sorts of effort going into that one. Looking forward to getting down there for that. Ed's going to be doing the RC Derby and stuff. We're going to be talking with him down there about all of that. And we're going to be talking with Joey Legrander, Todd Wire. We might even be able to catch up with Tate Wire in addition to that to talk about WinterSLAM. Awesome show up there, front to back. Awesome show, specifically. Some struggles otherwise, but I feel bad for all that crew. But it sounds like there's some changes that are going to be made. I saw a post from Randy Lasowski. He said that the heat wasn't even on in the party barn, so the band had to dress in layers, but they didn't miss a beat. The band sounded awesome. Everybody had a great time. 140 cars ended up getting wrecked at the final count, and it was over with in a short matter of time.
Yeah, it was funny. Last Friday would have been when we would have flown out for WinterSLAM. We've made that trip a few times, and we got our first real winter weather. So I was just like, man, I'm glad we ain't got to try to fly out of here today. But I read a lot of great things about WinterSLAM. You know, what a great show it was. Hard hitting, fast paced as always. Again, like you mentioned, I want to echo. Feel bad for the stuff that went on afterwards. Sounds like the hotel and the management didn't hold up the end of the deal, which is kind of crazy because the amount of people that they pull in there, they make somebody, a lot of money. So, man, you mentioned Ed Brewster freaking out. I can't picture that. Ed's one of the most laid-back dudes I've ever met in my life.
I know.
Like, I'm pretty sure he was a hippie at one point in his life.
Yeah. You'll have to ask him about the time that he got lost in the desert and talked to a rabbit.
I think I heard that story once.
Oh, man. What a good time. Brett Nelson, I invited him. He is a hard negative. Don't ask again. It's going to be no. He was really good spirits about it. Came away with the win in the Weld class. Great run for him. Happy for him. But he doesn't do interviews. It's not his thing, and I get it. It's. We've got a couple other people that are in our orbit that we try, and it just never comes around. So Brett Nelson winning that. Again, Joey Legrand winning in the 80s chain class. Daniel Lano won trucks. Cody Knuth won the compacts. Heavy hitter awards went to Nate Westerberg. In the Weld class, Todd Wire. In the 80s, the trucks was Daniel Lano, and the compacts, Mark Hubbard. So Daniel Lano winning and Mad Dog Award in the compacts. So,
that's a good day.
Yeah, it's not a bad day at all. We've got Joey joining us here on the line. Appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. Congratulations on the win, man. Tell me about WinterSLAM.
Thanks. No, it was a good time. Weather was beautiful, and show was very well ran. They got us through there quick, let us kind of keep our cars warmed up the whole time, and track held up great. Got muddy there for a little bit, but it was still solid underneath. But right. All around, awesome show.
Brandon Thomas had posted some pictures where they had scraped the track. They left the snow on it right up until the last minute, and and scraped it off.
I think they used like an asphalt grinder to get the ice off the ice and snow off the top of it, which is crazy.
Joey, define beautiful for everybody that's not sure what beautiful in February in St. Peter, Minnesota is.
Well, last year it was like 10 below, and it was brutal. But this year I think it started off at around 10 degrees, but I bet you got up to close to 20. But the sun was out, and that's what made it today the best.
Yeah, that's hoodie weather.
Yeah. The last time we were there, it was like 30. It was the first or second year that they were at the new place when we were both there together.
Yeah.
And it was really nice that day. Like, a couple layers and a hoodie, and I was good to go. But
there was a year after that we were up there that it was mighty cold, but the weather worked out great. 10th anniversary for NAPA WinterSLAM.
Pretty cool
this year. So milestone in its own right. Joey, your name in history is winning number 10 along with the other division winners this year. Terry Evans capping his run as the Mad Dog Trophy builder. We're going to be able to talk with Todd a little bit about that element itself. One of the hallmarks of WinterSLAM year in and year out is how hard they drive. You guys were just about full in the 80s class, and it was over within 30 minutes, you said. So it went pretty fast. How was the pace, and did it feel like it was 30 minutes when you were out there?
No, it went real quick. I know, because last year it went about an hour, and I run last year, and ended up winning it last year also. But then now this year, I mean, it was right off the gate. It was crazy. And I thought without having 03s there this year that it might slow down a little bit, but I think them really nice big trophies for that Mad Dog drove everybody to try to go for it.
Knowing that was hanging out there, was there anybody that you approached or maybe approached you and extended maybe a little bit of an olive branch and said, hey, let's make peace for now so that there's something left at the end?
Yeah, I talked to a couple guys because I went there pretty much solo, and I talked to a couple guys that I knew last year that run real hard, and they left me alone. But I even had kind of the thought that if it was go for Mad Dog or go for win, I was going to try to go for Mad Dog. But
sure,
there were so many people going for it that I had to change my pace.
Yeah, if you change your pace when everybody's going for Mad Dog, you got a real good shot at winning.
Yeah, absolutely. But the only problem then is that you become a target for a Mad Dog.
Just make it sound like you're going for it, right?
Yeah.
Bull Lockwood said,
sides of my car are pretty far gone.
What'd you run, a Vic?
Yeah, I took a 9802. They had no watts conversion, and I've been experimenting with it for here a little while now, and their rules kind of let you keep that rear end in there a little bit, and I've been thinking that the game is going to kind of start going that way, so I've been trying to get a little heads up on the whole 9802 with the factory watts.
Gotcha. Yeah, when we were there, everybody was kind of on the Metric GM. Well, the last time I was there, everybody's kind of on the Metric GM swing. There was a lot of Cadillacs, so.
Yeah, fronts are good. It's just that, the back ends, you just never know what they're going to do.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Unless you're Kenny Rosno.
Right. I think Jeremy Gully had one similar to what Kenny used to like to run up for sale, not that over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The rest of the show, the same style pace. I mean, the trucks, I trust, had to be pretty entertaining if the winner also took home the Mad Dog Award.
Yeah, everybody drove hard. It was a very impressive show, and it's amazing how well you hook up on that track, even though with that little bit of ice or mud on there. I mean, everybody just flew.
What made it muddy? You said it got muddy late. Was it talking about yours or just late in the day, more like during the Weld final? Was there just so much antifreeze that got dumped on the track that it started to go away and then ran back in and came back?
I think it's just the heat of the cars on there or something, because it's literally just an inch of slop on top of it that flies off, and then it's rock hard. And
right.
I kind of try to stick to like a softer rubber tire on there just to get some traction, but it looks like my car ran in the middle of summer for sure.
Did you look at any of the pictures, specifically looking at tire choice?
No, I didn't get a chance to. A lot of snow tires.
There was a lot of different combinations on the back.
Well, and that was the thing. I mean, again, the few times we went out there, is you started seeing guys getting away from just the hard, like, loader tires. The first year we went, the Zacharias, he had the
Zacharias show.
Yeah. He had a T-Bird, and that had just like snow tires out of Sears or something. and that thing got around amazing. And we saw some guys start doing stuff like that, and then every year there'd be it seemed like there was a little more diverse.
Was it the year that getting away from the tire conversation? Unfortunately, just it hit a wire in my brain as we were talking. Was it the year that Chris Lancaster put the Caddy engine in the Thunderbird, that he had to put the torpedo heater underneath the car to get?
Yeah, he put the 502 Caddy in it, and I walked up, and they're all huddled over, and they got the salamander blowing on it. I think they even had a canvas over it, and I said, I'm guessing that's not your guard motor. And he laughed. He said, no, I wanted to try something different. And I said, excellent. That was one of the last years. It was in Blue Earth.
Right.
It was freezing. And the wind was blowing up above, like where they parked. But we were down in the hole where the track was. It wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were. That was interesting. That's year. Remember the radiator blew, and Chris got a bunch of smog and smoke and stuff. It was not feeling so well afterwards. Mm-hmm. That was a tough car too until that happened. But
yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's still a big thing. Is everybody's putting space heaters under them and tarping them, and you find out your weak point when you get in that kind of weather. If you got a weak battery or a weak starter or something like that, it'll show itself.
Yeah, it definitely adds a whole new element. I mean, without a doubt, WinterSLAM is definitely one of my favorite derbies that I've ever been to. I mean, it's just so neat to get out there. And I know you were busy, driving and stuff, but I mean, was there a big crowd like usual? Did you have a chance to notice?
Yeah, I think this year was actually more full than last year. I mean, I don't know if it was due to the temperature or whatnot, but I know they moved the beer tent a little bit more accessible to the track and made it heated. So I think that made it a little better. But yeah, stands were packed. It was standing room only.
I mean, it's crazy. We every time we were there was more people. Mm-hmm. It's.
Remember from the first year that we went to the second year, and Brandon, if I remember the conversation with Brandon correctly, and he watches regularly, so he'll correct me where I go astray. I think they've added bleachers and reconfigured to fit more actual seating every year that they've been at the Nicollet County Fairgrounds in St. Peter, that's a great problem to have. This is one of those that we've talked about this a lot. If you're new to the show, catch up on the other 307, and you'll hear some of the same stuff about WinterSLAM about this time of the year. The show is one of those destination derbies that started before destination derbies were a thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the thing that WinterSLAM has as a destination derby over some of the other places that kind of fit that same mold is it's truly built around a derby. Mm-hmm. You get to say that you were outside in Minnesota, which is crazy in February because sometimes, as Joey described, a beautiful day can be just a few degrees above zero.
Yes.
And you're out there and you're in that element and you're in all your snow gear and everything like that and you're surrounded by 4,500 of your closest friends. 140 cars get wrecked in 4 hours, and then you all go back to the hotel. Everybody showers up, warms up, and they have that party afterwards. Some of the other destination derbies, it's built around a tourist city, so all the advertising that goes into that, it's not hitting a fixed audience. You're hitting this group of people that's gone the next week, and the next group of people, and they're gone the next week. Well, if they're there, they're not coming back in 4 weeks for a demolition derby, theoretically.
Yeah.
In the way that everything is structured in Minnesota right now, with where it's located and the population centers, they're hitting a fixed audience. There's a derby population that's hungry for a derby, and they've got it, and they just turn out in droves. And it's some of the craziest fans you've ever seen or heard about.
Oh yeah,
they're just short of jumping through flaming tables.
Let's not give them any ideas. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, like I mentioned, the first year that we went, I think was the second or third year of the show, and they were excited because there was a line of people. The stands were full on both sides, and then there was a line of people all the way around the track. Well, the next year it was like 4 deep all the way around the track, and then it just kept growing and growing, and that's why they had to eventually move it. Yeah, I mean that's a great problem to have. I mean, I've said it to Jeremy Gully at San Flupo. I said, well, where's the next spot to go to now, because it was full in Morris.
There's no
When
room.
Bash for Cash moved from Washington Courthouse to Chillicothe, the first year there, I walked up to Russ and said, "Where are you going next?" Because the stands were full and it was deep all the way around. And he just smiled and shook his head. And I mean that's a great thing to have. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I mean this is really truly. I mean there's Right now there wasn't a derby that weekend, anywhere where it was drawn, and just a lot of cars, a lot of people. The after party is always a good time, except for the year I fell asleep watching the Busch Clash, but hey, that happens. I'm old when you want from me.
And Turnabout Fair Play, they turned the Busch Clash into a demolition derby this year.
Oh yes, they did. Yeah, that was bad. Did you hear Kozlowski's interview?
At the drivers' meeting, there was a couple guys that come from like 600 miles to run.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Carson Dixon from Lignite, North Dakota, used to have that longest tow award on lock, and now some of these guys are just towing from all over the place. Montana started to turn out, which was good to see. I mean, that was outstanding. Joey, from your perspective, I mean, you won the 80s class 2 years in a row, and I think Stacy Flynn might have done that back in number 4 and number 5 or something in that time frame. He had a couple back-to-back wins. How difficult is that? I mean, the caliber of competition continues to go up, and for the last several years, it's been a blind draw just to get into that 80s class.
Yeah, it's never easy, and and I know a lot of people like the one and done thing, but you're banking on everything working one time, and no, I can't say it. Like I've ran with a couple of guys there each year that have been really good and true and helped me out, and I got lucky enough to stay away from the old trees last year and get through. And it's mostly that show is a big drivetrain show. If you can you can keep water in it and don't steam yourself out, because you forget to remember that in a summer show you start steaming, you don't notice it, but you get into 20 degrees, 0 degree weather, it's a little bit is just a big cloud,
Yeah,
right.
That's very true.
I think a lot of luck, like any of us in this sport, and you just try to hopefully get your car to bend right, because there ain't no fixing it once it don't. So
no, that's very true.
How did you get into Demolition Derby as a whole?
I've been running for about 20 years now. I got a group of guys that had a junkyard when I was in high school, and I helped them work on a couple cars, and I thought I really wanted to do it, and jumped in a 85 LaGrander compact, ran my first show, had a couple maintenance guys that worked for my dad at the time that were into derbying, and they helped me, and I got lucky enough. I went and ended up winning my first derby I ever ran.
Then you were hooked.
And then, I've always had a thing for wrenching and doing stuff, and slowly but surely just build the parts and build the inventory and get the knowledge, and you end up keep on running.
You got to look at it and wonder, is that a good thing or a bad thing when you win the first time out? Because then you're instantly hooked. So, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like me, I was terrible, but I was dumb enough to not say, okay, I'm just going to do something else. And I just kept coming back, and then eventually I found a few loose, nuts around. But, in all reality, there's nothing better than winning that first time out. I mean, that's really,
And I I would never say that as because it wasn't, I had no clue what I was doing. I just got lucky and went out and drove. But honestly, like the group of guys that I build with now, I was against all them guys at that time. And that's how I met a lot of the friends that I have that help me right now. But I probably went 12 or 13 years before I won my next one. Oh, yeah. And that was my build, my car, my everything. And that's what I would consider my first win.
Yeah. I know what that's like. I won my hometown, and then it took decades to win it again.
Yeah, your hot streak lasted about 13 months. You won Brewerton, you won Seneca County, and after that it was ages.
No, I had
Utica Rome.
Yeah,
but it was nice.
I'm on a really good one right now. So I think this was number 6 in a row. So
that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's cool. Now, do you run full size, just full size, or do you still run some compact stuff too?
No, that was the only compact I ever ran, was that first one, and I've been full size ever since. I got into the mod stuff for a while, and I don't know, I like this stock build, protector style, a little bit more finicky car, but good drivetrain is what I really like.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and you were talking about the drivetrain. You got to put your best stuff in there, because you can't risk it. As hard as that track can be, you got to have the good stuff in it, because if it starts getting that weird side slide stuff,
yeah, it's not good.
Not going to go well.
It's not good. That is the one thing. I mean, this one and dones are nice because you don't have to try to fix it at the track afterwards. Especially for me, because getting too old to rebuild cars in pits. But you can have something as small as a wire, fall off something, and there you sit and you're out. With a fresh car. So I mean, you really got to be on your game to do good in these shows.
What's next for you, Joey?
I got a kid coming in April, so I'm gonna take a break here for a while. I'm gonna try to get a little bit ahead on a car before that arrives, and then I might probably have to take a break a little bit. But then later this summer, this fall, I'll probably run a couple, and then this car that I ran at Slam, I'll take to probably the hometown show here after I do a little fixing to it.
Excellent.
That all sounds like a great plan, man. Anybody that you want to thank or make mention of?
Just my pit crew guys. They gave me a ton of help. I was gonna say too, with this whole show, with I've never seen it before, but they have like NAPA there, and they got most of the parts there. But I needed a couple of things to get through inspection, and they went up to the desk and asked them, and the guy ran to the store and brought it back for us, and
that's awesome.
Help that way, which was really cool.
That parts shuttle's been part of that show for
a
while. Yeah, and that was one of the first places we saw it. That was adapted. I'll put it that was adapted at a couple of the shows that we've had around here. I believe the first Kings of Old School had something like that going on with one of the parts stores that's just down the street from Whitney Point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Hope I'm right.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Yep.
But I do got to say, my wife and my family, I don't want to leave them out. Her dad was kind of into it too for a while, so she understands it a little bit. But when you start having a family and kids and everything, she has fun with it. She came to winter, and she's 7 months pregnant, and she bared it out and watched the show with us. And yeah, it was. I really can't thank her enough for giving me the opportunity to do this.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on the baby. Hope everything goes well for you guys when you welcome the new one in April, and keep us posted as the summer goes. Let us know if you end up getting any cars and what you've got planned.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you guys.
For sure, man. Congratulations on the win.
Have a good one.
There goes Joey Legrand going away with the win in the 80s wire class, back-to-back years at NAPA WinterSLAM. Outstanding show front to back. So we were talking a little bit there about the destination derbies. There's two other ones that are on the radar for us again, and these are outliers beyond what the typical derby season is. I guess when you look at what NAPA WinterSLAM is, you have to be there, and you have to be there for the cold. Blizzard Bash was the other one that really stood out, and you have to be there because you got to see what it's like to see the derby in the hockey arena. And then capitalizing on that, no pun intended, Capital City Carnage. I got to find the slide for it now. What to do with it? There it is. But Capital City Carnage is knocking on the door. It's right around the corner. It's going to be March 6th and 7th. I had to say no to the TV crew. They wanted to do another show with the Short Track Super Series South when they were at the Northeast opener at Georgetown International.
Really?
Yeah, I had to tell them no because I'm going to be in Topeka. Limited welds are $10,000 to win, 50 car limit, $2,500 Mad Dog Award at Capital City Carnage, 2-man extreme class, $10,000 to win there, $2,500 Mad Dog Award, 50 car limit. New this year, they've added the front wheel drive Hobo stock and the Weld Street stocks. Also on the card, the Weld Compacts and the modified support classes are 25 car limits, $2,500 to win. They're paying back the top four online, capitalcitycarnage.com. This event, of course, hosted by Smash It Demolition Derbies. Excited to get back there for that one. It is always a great show, and we are absolutely looking forward to being out there to bring you all of the action trackside for Capital City Carnage. Todd Wire, we're going to be getting him on the line. Did you happen to follow the posts and the discussion with Candace in Domination Motorsports?
No.
Surprise, surprise. Guess who showed up at WinterSLAM?
Sam Williams.
No.
Who?
Just as cool. Booger with the Y4.
Really?
And Tegan didn't know.
Really?
And they waited until Tegan was at the trailer to back the car out.
Really?
Big high five in the window. Yeah, it was really cool because Booger's supposed to be retired.
Yeah.
And he did what all the great retired drivers do: show up at the next race.
I think he took a year off though. He didn't.
Yeah,
he wasn't at Blizzard Bash or anything last
Hey,
year.
Todd, let me put you in.
So I assume he ran the Weld.
Yeah, he had a caddy. I think it was a Cadillac. I mean,
What happened? Where'd he end up?
I don't know.
Nope.
I didn't get that far. Todd, it's Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Congratulations on the Mad Dog Award. I understand it didn't come easy.
No, I suited up and away we went.
It sounds like in the 80s class, which is always a fun one, the compacts, they always go through pretty quick. The idea of an event lasting an hour or so is not beyond the realm of possibility, but at WinterSLAM it's generally fairly quick. We've seen compacts in the 80s class go through in under 20 minutes before we're out there. This one lasting a half hour with everybody going for it and trying to win that Mad Dog Award and take home one of those badass trophies. How difficult was it to last long enough to be recognized as the winner?
I don't know. To me, I didn't really care if I won or not. I was just doing it for Tegan,
Right? Well, Tegan...
You don't like sandbagging, so that's why I put a 4-point in my car and I wasn't backing up.
I like that idea. What'd you run, a Cadillac?
It didn't matter. Hello?
What did you have?
Oh, it's just a 350 we build at home, local engine guy. Does the machine work, and we bring them home, and we build them ourselves.
Nice. What kind of car did you run?
97 Merc. Like a Vic.
Nice.
The Tate has a little bit of work to do on his. Melted it down.
Oh, I think he blew the head gaskets out of it. He had 410s in there at 23s. I think he's running at about $7,000 and blew the head gaskets out of it.
That'll do it.
Well, he come by me a couple times. I was like, "Holy balls, boy, slow down here." We got to get that in the garage right now tonight after I get down here and see what's going on.
Yeah, we traded some messages earlier. I was a little, I was confused on who ended up getting the Mad Dog Award, but because it could have gone to like 25 different people,
Yeah, definitely sounds
But
like that.
after we got it narrowed down, we're gonna catch up with Tate a little bit later on, closer to summertime when he gets ready to run that car again after he gets this thing taken apart and gets it fixed. Hopefully, it's just the head gaskets. But the big deal for your family, Tegan, obviously in much improved health than the last several times that we've talked. All the announcement about things being in really good shape now, only getting better with the Demolition Derby equivalent to Make-A-Wish with Booger showing up to run. How awesome was that?
Ain't that something? It was hard to keep that from him since November, but we happened to do it.
How did all that come together?
I don't know, I talked to Booger. He said he had a surprise for him, and then he told me in November what he was doing. I'm like, that's cool. And then it just all kind of come together. Him and Jeremy Ertman, and Randy might have had something to do with it too, but
right,
it's kind of nice.
Booger's, when you meet Booger, he's kind of a big guy. He's bald, and he looks a little intimidating, but he is absolutely one of the nicest guys in the world.
Oh, he's got a heart of gold.
Really, really good
Heart of
guy.
gold.
And when he found out that he was Tegan's favorite driver, it means a lot to him. It really does. And he's, whenever Tegan's around, he's kind of hanging with Booger. It's really cool to see. So it is, and I mean that's an awesome thing that Booger did. It's really cool that he showed up and ran.
The video.
Well, with him there watching, how do you sandbag? He can't. He don't drive that way either.
Booger isn't really known for that sandbagging. He was usually the hammer on his team. So
yeah, can't let him down.
How did he make out in the feature? Did he go a ways before he was out, or?
I think he ended up 6th or something, but I think he lost reverse in his car.
Oh, probably forgetting to stop before he went from low to first. That happens sometimes.
Well, he's got so much power, and it's kind of hard on things,
Yes, it is. That's true, too, because he always had a nasty motor in his Blizzard Bash cars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As soon as that thing fired up, he had it in a black trailer down there, racing trailer, and Tegan was like, that's Booger's. I don't know if you guys seen the video that Candace had, but he knew right away.
That's awesome.
Just by listening to it.
That is awesome.
Right?
That's so cool.
Back the thing out today we played on the side.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was an awesome video. Yeah. Candace was in the right place for that one. It was cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Domination.
That was pretty neat.
Domination Motorsports had a couple cars up there, which was cool. And I don't know if it was, and maybe you can clue me in, Todd, if it was the same car. If it was the car that came with Candace and the Domination crew that ended up with the back end jacked way up in the air. It was a number 82. I think it was
our class or Wells class.
I want to say it was your class. It was a wagon. I think it was
that was Jeremy Johnson.
Then I think it was.
Normally runs trucks there.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was the same loop, but that thing got folded. It looked awesome.
Well, I've seen that car a few times out there, and I was thinking about hitting it, but I knew I would have screwed the front of my car up hitting that thing. It was too straight in the air, like hitting a wall,
It was.
It's flying too. So
it was a Roadmaster, right?
I think so.
And
yep.
And it bent like the old round back bend where the window arches open, and it was really cool looking.
Guys, they've really, and we've touched on it before. They've got the metric GM wagons, the backs of them figured out to where they do what they want and they hold up well. So, that could be 20 years that could be the wagon of choice.
Right. Well, yeah, probably 20 years.
20 years might be out of round backs by then.
Well, the Whitakers won't be.
No, the Whitakers, they just keep. I'm pretty sure they have their own molds.
Bronze won't be.
Yeah, bronze won't be either. I'm pretty sure they just, build their own, but that's beside the point.
Bobby Whitaker's car for Blizzard Bash this year is going to be a 2021 1973 roundback. The serial number is 00001.
No doubt.
Because it was this year's harvest. They just pluck it off the tree.
It's off the tree and away it goes.
Well, I thought it was funny. Whatever. I don't know what to tell you. What else you got planned for this year?
I think we're going to try to pull mine down and see what's wrong with it. And then there's a demo close to our hometown here in March. So Tato run that car and then fix his other one up that he was running in WinterSLAM and bring that back down to Spring of Destruction and just go from there. We just kind of pick and choose, and where we think it's fun to go, we go.
Where are you guys at in relation? Have you seen the post at all about Crossroads?
Yeah, we're about 200 miles away.
Okay. Is that something that if that thing comes back, would you guys consider running that?
Oh, maybe.
I saw I saw Matt Ertman commenting that there's a push to get Crossroads back, and that was a great show.
Yeah, it was. I'm actually glad you brought that up. I was gonna say that I'd saw that on Facebook. Yeah, that was always a great show. It never worked into my schedule to where I was able to go. Right. I remember when we were flying somewhere. I remember watching it on your computer, and I was very impressed. It was a great show. It'd be good to see again. It's always good to have another Derby come back.
You don't hear that. Derbies don't come back. Yeah. The only place that we're hearing regularly that Derbies are coming back is in Nebraska, Kansas area, where the Derby went away for a little while. Now they're coming back with compacts, with a one and done for mod cars, and they're getting a dozen of those. They're back. Yeah. The big thing is they're back. Yep. It's not going away. Yep. They're back. But to have a big show like that come back from it's been a couple of years since it's been gone, I think.
3 or 4, I'd say at least. It's been a while.
It'd be cool to see.
I also wanted to touch because somebody mentioned Jeremy Ertman. I thought of Matt, but Jeremy Ertman obviously wasn't able to be at WinterSLAM this weekend. We've known Jeremy for a while. Really good dude. WinterSLAM is his pride and joy. He really cares about that Derby a lot. He had a work accident. Interrupted his getting ready for that Derby. So, hopefully he's healing up well. Hopefully, usually when he got done with WinterSLAM, he'd go do some fishing. So hopefully he's able to at least go out and do a little bit of fishing and relax. I saw a post he put up Friday night or early Saturday, and just kind of wishing everybody well. And, if you need help with this, call this guy. And I can't imagine, how stressed and how down he was for missing that show. So, from both of us, hopefully, Jeremy, you're feeling better soon and be back at it next year. I know it's a long ways away, but hopefully, you'll be ready to go.
Nothing a little walleye therapy can't help.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
the 80s wire class continues to be one of the ones that you can't miss as part of that card. We towed around the compacts a little bit. How fast did that feature go through?
I'm not sure. I really didn't watch much of that.
No. What'd you get to watch?
You know, you get the nerves in the belly, so I stayed away until it was my turn to go.
I understand that. The trucks have been such a significant improvement when they got rid of the full weld trucks and moved to that limited weld style build. That's been a ton of fun to watch that. And then obviously ending with the weld class, that was good. Hey, did you happen to catch Mitch Carlson hanging around there?
No, I didn't see him. Nope.
No, I don't know if he went or not. You know, with the Blizzard Bash being the intention was that was going to be his last tour of Demolition Derby, and I was wondering if he was at least going to go back and check it out. We've seen him have some success up there as well. How heavy was your badass trophy?
Jeez, it took me and Cora both to carry it back to the truck, and we had to stop and have a break. It's heavy.
What you got into the truck? What did you do?
I think it's got 2 flywheels on it and 4 cams and all kinds of stuff on that thing. Wow. It's pretty cool, but man, that thing's heavy.
Does it fit in the living room?
It's out in the garage on the bench right now.
For now,
it's
going to get there.
That's where we keep all the Demolition Derby trophies and stuff. We keep it out there. So
Chris's badass trophy's right in his living room, unless it's moved since the last time I was there.
Nope, still right there on the shelf.
You know, that was also something cool that we saw at WinterSLAM, is those trophies. And I'm not going to say, you know, he was the first one to make those trophies, but it was the first one I saw. Mm-hmm. And they were just amazing, and now there's a lot of people doing them. So it's a very cool idea. You know, other than San Filippo, well, I can't say that.
Wheel Days had them before.
Yeah, Wheel Days had them. And
Plymouth County Fair and Lamar's has had them before.
You're killing me.
Sorry.
Wayne Ellison Sr. built a few for Waterloo.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Heavy hitter. I think you used a heavy hitter and then one for the winner, I think.
He did one for a heavy hitter, and Tim ended up winning it both years.
Yeah,
didn't he?
Yeah. So
or Donnie won it one year and Tim won it the other.
Yep. So, but I mean, that was another really cool part of WinterSLAM was to see what he came up with every year.
And it had some reaching effects. I mean, it was definitely like you said, if not the first, at least the most recognized.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad everything went well. Travel went safe, and all everybody at home is still staying healthy, I trust.
You bet. Everybody's safe and at home here, and we're ready to get going on something new and see what happens here. That morning we woke up, there was 10, 11 inches of snow on the ground. It was a mess down there. Mankato.
To come home?
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Wow. Remember the one year, I can't remember which time it was, but we got up and it was beautiful out, sunny, and then we stepped outside and it was like negative 600.
Yeah.
I remember it being, it was way colder than it was the day. I don't know how it happened.
Man, this is good. It's going to be like 45 today.
Yeah, we stepped outside and it took your breath away. It was so cold.
It warmed up to -7.
Yeah, before we got out the plane. Yeah, it was crazy, but...
Yep,
a lot of fun. Maybe we'll get back out there some year. That was always a good time
to see. There's always so much to do and only so many calendars.
Remember that one time we were coming home from there and we were coming down out of just you and I coming down out of the skies in Syracuse. As we came through the clouds, you could see the snowplows running down the runway wide open at Syracuse.
Yeah,
and you didn't like it, so you reached up and you pulled that shade down. And I said, "Chris, I don't think that's going to save us."
Nope.
But by some miracle, he landed that thing in snow. And here we are.
It was not an insignificant amount of snow on that runway.
No, there was a lot of snow on that runway.
When you're moving triple digits and hits ice, but sure enough, you did it. I think that was the same year that going out, we did a similar thing when we got to Chicago.
Where the plane did one of these?
Yeah, and it was basically after we did this power slide, skate, flirt with God kind of hear angels sing deal. We got to the gate and everybody's like, give him a round of applause. It was his first flight by himself. You picked a heck of a day to be good.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was always interesting. It was always a fun trip. From there out and back, we always had fun.
For a final thought on WinterSLAM, Scott Perdonick made a post in the WinterSLAM page. He drove 16 hours round trip to see WinterSLAM, and he said it was well done. Started on time. The track was cleared fast. On to the next one. Couldn't ask for a better experience. Glad the drivers put on the show as well. I can see why it's rated one of the top shows in the country. Might be worth adding a minivan, truck heat to cover all the classes. Definitely will recommend and be back next year. So the only reason why you won't see another heat is because there's not enough daylight. They just can't do it. But other than that, a shining endorsement from Scott Perdonick as some of our final thoughts to close the 2020 NAPA WinterSLAM. Todd, man, again, thanks for coming on the show. We'll be talking to you soon, okay?
All right, can I say one thing?
Yeah,
Yes,
go
sir.
for it. Absolutely.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody in the Derby world for what they've done for Tegan, man. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yes, it
You know,
is.
you guys, whoever, they all know who they are. So listening.
There is a lot of people that rallied around, and man, it was
It's that
cool
Derby
to see.
family we talk about.
Yeah, it sure is.
That touches my heart, brings me to tears,
Absolutely.
I understand. Is there anybody else that you wanted to make mention of? I know you guys do all your own motors, and the whole family was there and has been part of this front to back. Anybody else you want to make mention of?
Yeah, it's our whole little group, they know who they are, and it's just a big family we have up here, too, and we just run around and have fun,
Absolutely.
Do it.
So,
That sounds good, man. We appreciate you coming on, and congratulations again on the Mad Dog win.
all right, thanks.
We'll see you now.
Yeah, bye.
There goes Todd Wire, 80s Mad Dog winner at the Napa WinterSLAM. I was talking with Mark Elliott today, saying that it is so busy. We have not put enough of our focus on catching up with the drivers from Capital City Carnage. But the thing is we're talking to so many of them. They're just running 6 and 7 derbies before they get to March now.
Mm-hmm. Which is crazy.
It used to be we would catch Blizzard Bash, Tricky Derby, Warzone, WinterSLAM, and then Capital City Carnage. Now it's like piles of derbies. Ed Brewster joining us on the phone right now. Ed is, in his own words, freaking out about the
Ed, I
the
got to ask you, man.
prospect.
I've known you for a little while, and you have absolutely got to be one of the most laid-back guys I've ever met in my life. There is no way you're freaking out about anything.
I do occasionally, Brian. I would say, way 2020 starting here for the RC Derby circuit, it's definitely something to freak on a little bit. I know I always get that question, do you think it would go this far? And I guess at this point, no, I had no idea.
This is now to the point, and Ed, correct me where we go astray, that Ed is so busy with the RC Derby stuff, he is entertaining shutting down most of the operations at the RC track so that he can juggle the RC stuff with the RC Derby stuff, because it's just about 12 months.
Really?
Well, we talked about the scale pulling group.
Yep.
He was in Ohio for. They ruined a chunk of carpet there, so that's kind of a cool story. They weren't happy with it over. But now he's getting ready to go to Motorama again. He's been to Florida. He's got Ohio waiting in the wings in
Didn't
May.
you guys have an issue last year at Motorama?
Ed had an issue at Motorama. I didn't have an issue. I had an issue with Ed's issue because I wanted him to drink more water, and he was trying to be an
I
Iron
thought
Man.
there was. Where was it? Where you guys? Did you guys have an issue with one of the places where you guys had a show last year?
Just at Motorama, it was basically my health issue, and
Yeah, I remember that.
Chris
Oh.
was there and pulled me out of that. Thank you, Chris.
You had a lot of people that were pulling you in a lot of different directions, but all of them were equally directed away from what you were doing. You, I think, are thinking of Speed World when we had multiple issues with the floor
Okay.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Auburn, which is on his schedule again, and he's going to be back up for a derby in Syracuse as well.
For some reason, I was thinking it was at the one in Harrisburg, and figured maybe you guys had to extend that olive branch to get back there and run again this year.
No. Everything's always been really solid with Motorama, right, Ed? I mean, no problems there at all.
No issues at all. Talked with Brad Hostetter today, and everything's good to go. We were even talking about the 21 season a little bit, so I imagine they're still happy with us. This will be our 5th run at Motorama this year.
Cool.
That's awesome. So what's got you so frazzled at this point?
Well, you kind of mentioned it there, easing back on the local here. Actually, the past couple years, I just hadn't been giving the Derby circuit enough attention, and was kind of dividing my time between that and the local running. And anyway, just having some issues back here on the local side. I just said, well, I'm going to throw myself into the Derby this year. And, of course, you get out of something what you put into it, and I'm seeing that paying off already. The response out there is bigger than I've ever seen it in the last, I guess, 7 years now.
Crazy. 7 years? Wow. Sure didn't feel like 7 years.
That's
no, not at all. Not at all. I was just thinking back when Chris called me up here for a show of y'all's I was on, I believe it was number 77. So by the time it's passed, y'all up in the 300s now.
Yeah. I remember the first show. They brought a body with them, and they came to the or they'd sent us a body.
We had a body, yeah.
And we were in the old show or the old studio, and that was pretty cool.
That was Josh Farrell's Dukes of Hazzard body. I still have that in the garage someplace.
We because we were just like hearing about it for the first time.
Right.
RC Derbies.
Yeah, it went around like wildfire on Facebook with a couple of the videos. That was from the track at in Midlothian. It's right next to Southside Speedway, which Ed's grandfather had run that for ages. And that was
it's 58.
That was a home track, if you can believe it, for Denny Hamlin.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, JMW RC facility's going to keep going. We're just going to tone back on like points series racing weekly. That's going to be cut back, and we're going to just do some more special events there when I'm in town.
Sure. So where else are you looking at going here? Because we've got coming up for up here, we've got Speed World and then Motorsports Expo, back-to-back weekends in Auburn and Syracuse. You've got...
It's looking at this time that probably the spring for Syracuse, I likely might have to put that off to 21. The schedule is just getting so heavy, and few contacts today looks like we're going to fill in some more of the schedule through the year.
Yeah.
Right now we're setting it with 10 full months. Some of the months we do have 2 events running in the same month.
Wow.
So it's just what I love doing. So, I'm really glad I'm putting this much focus on it and really getting out there and doing more shows. It's just probably the part of it I enjoy most. So why not do what you like if you're able to?
Is it too early to talk about the 2 shows that you've been in contact with the last week or so?
Actually, was hitting on it today, Spring Explosion and Metal Mayhem, due to get back with Jack Fissler next week and see if we can iron it all out, and that'll add, that'll add us an event in April and one in June.
That's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Metal Mayhem is one of the longest running destination derbies in the States.
It's a standalone for sure.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool. And Spring Explosion is also a big show. Yeah, it's great how this is, it's caught on, and there's so many guys that do it. I mean, we have a pretty good contingent here in Central New York that travels and hits a lot of big derbies. I don't know how much Ian will be doing traveling now, but maybe he'll hit some local ones.
He'll be covering ground, I'm sure.
Well, actually, my biggest sponsor, my wife, is probably glad the season's coming on to start traveling, because I've been just sitting around here drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and making her grumpy. So it's time to hit the road.
That happens.
All of the information has been centralized on the JMW Motorsports page at this point. You can find everything there, and that's got all the links to the Facebook locations as well.
Right, yeah. Hit our website or Facebook pages. Everything will link you up with what you want to know concerning the circuit. And one thing that I'm really excited about this year, well, actually a few things, but this is one of them, the new rollback class we're bringing this year. It's kind of digging all the way back to when we started this in 2013. We didn't know what cages were. We didn't know what roll bars were then in these cars. And I think it's definitely going to be good entry level for the kids. It'll make it much cheaper to get into because the chassis is to stay totally stock. I believe that's a class I'm going to run in a bit myself when I can do it.
You said Traxxas Slash. You going to be able to put a low center of gravity chassis under it, or no?
No, you got to go with the one that's just high gravity chassis, and that's it. The only thing we're allowing is you can upgrade your tires and your wheels.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
we even dropped the gas tank back to a 5200 to keep these matches shorter as well.
Sure. That's cool. That'll be a lot of fun. What's the response been on that so far?
Been very good. I'm excited to get it going. It looks like we're going to run them for the first time up at Speed World in Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many we'll have, but I'm sure we're going to have enough to have a good match. And
Sure.
we'll see how it pans out, but I think it's going to be good.
Have you got your cars all ready to go? You had some pretty awesome bodies, pretty awesome paint jobs.
I have some awesome paint jobs.
Well, speaking of bodies, we've got about 3 new models coming out. Have one coming out after I get back from Motorama. Actually, Chrissy's going to drive the prototype up there, and we're going to take notes and take it from there. And then we got 2 other builds coming out. And anyway, one other bit of news that was very exciting to me to hit this year was Tim Clark and Smash It Derby coming on as a sponsor for a national class and also sponsoring on the championship that we're starting this year.
Cool. Very cool.
Wouldn't be a national tour without a points champion, right?
That's true.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that, and as usual, Tim, he's on board again for the Derby cars for kids at Bash for Cash, as well as
Yes.
Ralph with Gray Area. Ralph's been doing it in this will be his 2nd year, and I believe Tim has been on it since we started it, which had to be about 4 years now. And of course, JMW and Crash Course will be putting one out too for the kids this year.
Mm-hmm. And it's just as simple as people go around and hand out tickets, and the kid gets to go run it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And that's
That's very cool.
yeah. I mean, it's very neat because man, what better way to hook a kid than to do that? And then Dad sees it and gets jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know.
We're trying to up it just a little bit. We are going to bring a kids class this year to Bash for Cash. People have been asking for that for a couple of years, so it's time to get it done. And we're going to run them on Saturday. And that's going to be the most fun right there. When the kids are running, you just ain't nothing like it. And we're just going to have a rink full of kids running.
One of my coolest memories from Bash for Cash is the one year you guys were running the show and somebody had a wagon and it was painted like Bobby Whitaker's that he had at Blizzard Bash. And Bobby happened to be out at Bash watching that year. And I saw him driving through. I said, "Hey, come here for a minute. I got to show you something." He's like, "What?" So I came and brought him over. I said, "Does that wagon look familiar?" And he got a smile on his face. He's like, "That's pretty cool," which is a lot of talking for Bobby. And the way he went, but it's neat to see how those cars have progressed.
I think I still have that body. I don't ever throw anything away. It's
No,
probably in the basement somewhere. I almost think it might have been painted once since then, but I'm pretty sure it's still there.
Could have been.
Somewhere down that dungeon out there.
Yes, that's what it is. Start
You
reaching.
got some models down there too.
Oh
don't you?
yeah. There's tons of those.
But all in all, we're hoping, add more events. Also, getting a little better sponsorship and so forth to increase the purses at the national events, which drivers love. And just feel all the way around 2020 is going to be really good.
Sweet.
I sure like the sounds of it. That sounds fantastic. And hopefully some of this stuff will overlap. Maybe we'll be able to see you a couple times on the road.
Yeah, I guess I'll see you up in Pennsylvania here in a few days.
Yep.
And then, let's see, you're going to be out in Topeka during Speed World, right?
That's right. Yep. The 5th and 6th, I'll be out there.
Well, I'll find something to do up there, I'm sure.
I don't doubt that at all. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to hit on?
No, just shout out to Cal RC. They're still one of our good sponsors on the circuit. And want to shout out to James Brown, let him know I'm definitely going to drop down to Geneva and have some grub at his place down there.
Yes, you have to do that.
We got to work out as our first foray to do a remote in a while. Go to Water Street.
what I'm kind of leaning on for that is once we get the weather a little bit better, we'll be able to set up outside instead of taking up the booths inside, or we can go at night, but we got to make him come back from Stanley and open the place up. And I'm sure he wouldn't. I'm sure he wouldn't argue. I haven't forgotten that. If anybody's, if Teresa or James or anybody's wondering if I forgot it, I was in Geneva Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night up at Franklin Square. And I went by, and every time I went by, I'm kind of scoping out what the best way to do it would be. Awesome. James always has the derby cars down there for
the block party.
Right. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right?
Absolutely. Maybe that'll be the start of us sneaking out and maybe doing a show or two this year. Not to let any cats out of bags, but,
there's a lot of rumors. There's been people that have been telling me where I'm going. That's awesome. News because I haven't unpacked the bags since we brought them home from the motocross race. I was sitting in a pile. I didn't know we were going there, but okay.
You never know where Crash Course might end up.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like roaches, we just show up unannounced.
We live forever. You can't kill us.
Well, he's very interested in this.
Glad, man. Congratulations on the kickstart of your 7th year with all this stuff, and it continues to grow. It's awesome to hear. Look forward to more announcements, and if nothing else, I'll see you in a couple days.
Sounds good, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Take care, buddy.
Oh, I got your decals with me for inspection. I'll have those for you when I see you on Thursday night.
Oh, great. So when somebody shows up with one of the old ones, they're no good now.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet. I'll see you later.
Have a good one, Ed.
You talked about those models. I have been almost like anxious to go build something again, and I haven't touched it. I don't even know how anymore. It's been for all. I'm sure all my paints are all dried up and everything. I'm sure it's all.
That's something really good for you because you are very meticulous. You're patient. So building the models was a good thing for you to do.
It was a lot of fun. The most fun was painting the bodies. It was getting the cars to look good. Did I ever show you the Tiger Stripe cars?
You never painted one like mine, but I'm a nobody. I understand
because I don't do flat black. It's not my thing.
Oh,
I need flash and pizzazz. I have a wagon that has the Hollywood sign down the side. That's from my style. I'll make you a door wrap that has Hollywood, and then you get it around back, and then we'll say that we already did a model of your car. Works out easy, right? That simple.
Absolutely.
I can't close my fingers.
What'd you do
anymore though? Just from all that from the last 20 years of typing, these fingers go to sleep real easy, and when I start trying to pinch,
that's carpal tunnel. They can go in there, and there's this little tunnel thing in there.
Yeah,
they want to grind that around a little bit, open it back up, you're good to go.
They just Dremel tool your wrist, and you're out of commission.
Basically. My brother-in-law had it done, and he was awake for it.
Your brother is a man.
Brother-in-law.
I'm sorry, your brother-in-law.
Yeah. Both wrists. They did them both at once, and he was awake for both of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why? Why was that? Who made the mistake? Was
Honestly,
that a choice? That's crazy.
If I was to guess, I would say insurance probably did it because it was cheaper. If I was to guess, but who knows?
I forgot to ask Todd how sore he was because he's going to be a whole lot older tomorrow than he was today.
Oh, really?
Got a birthday coming up. I forgot to ask him that. But we were talking about the model car stuff. Got Mark Elliott coming on the line next year. When we get a little bit closer, we're working on figuring out the who and the when. But, hey, Mark, we're going to have a couple folks that are from the model building community on the show leading up to the battle at the Bash, the model contest there. Lexi Draws from Derby Life Magazine had posted looking for information about model cars and model car builders and all that other stuff, and they were featured in our release, and there was also a column that appeared in the Finger Lakes Times about model car building. I dug it up, and I think the date on it was 2010.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
You mentioned birthdays. Desi Osterhout, Mike's wife, who owns a Mad Dog at Waterloo. Sorry, Josh Poole. Her birthday was Saturday. So happy birthday to her. I don't know if they watch or not regularly, or listen, but happy birthday.
Christy King is going in for her knee and hip replacement. You're talking about doing things at the same time. They're doing both at once.
Yeah, she'll probably be asleep for that.
I don't know. She's pretty tough. She might be directing traffic.
Dude, she will be running around this year taking pictures at derbies. It's going to be great.
So we hope all that goes well, and Tom Bell continuing on the road to recovery. He's got some surgeries coming up, so not out of the woods yet, but there's a reason why they stopped doing radiation and now they're ready to do a surgery. It's some good news.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm
we were touching on surgeries. Jeremy Gully had some surgery here a week or two ago, a month ago, something. And he told me about that, and I'm pretty sure that it was some sort of torture and it wasn't really surgery, but he's doing better as well. So
can you say what he had done? Hey, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards. Like I said, it was torture.
It doesn't sound good.
I could not have done what he had done. It's insane. But on with Mark.
We could also not do what Mark is doing because Mark is crazy. Mark Elliott joining us again with more updates and developments for the Unified Point Series. The series at this point is now in a bit of a dormant stage, getting ready to head down to Kentucky, Freedom Hall. So we've got a little bit of downtime, of which you've already begun filling with all an assortment of busy work with. The deadline tonight looming out there for sponsors. Anybody can send cash in and get their name on the banner. That is midnight tonight to get that done. So make sure you contact Mark, ME527 Announcing on Facebook. But you've got a T-shirt program that's been going on. You've got a website that's forthcoming. There's nothing in your life that isn't occupied by this point series.
That is an understatement, my friends. What's up, Chris and Brian?
What's going on, bud?
Good to have you on. So tell us what the new news is at this point.
Well, you did mention the teas, so not to assume that everyone knows about that, because I continue to share and share and share on my Facebook page. I do believe that awareness is a key variable, and online sales, as tough as they are, but it closes a week from today. So Mark Klein, Derby Tees, Ed Carls, that whole crew, Katie, they're freaking awesome. Start to finish, they one step forward, so they took the initiative to join the Unified Point Series as a sponsor. They designed a logo from scratch, which I absolutely love, and they designed not only a T-shirt, which is what I was under the understanding of, but they've got hoodies and they've got long sleeve, and that has been going on. I believe this is day 5, so you can follow my Facebook page or my ME527 Announcing page, or you can just click on derbytees.com and you can buy 1, you can buy 10, but $5 at least. So that's something else that's new to me. He had mentioned $5 per shirt, so that's what I've been communicating, but he talked about maybe even more going to the Point Series, so that is exciting. And so every shirt that's purchased, that's what's coming from that. And I have spoke with 2 people that are trying to take advantage of the bulk order, which is 48 shirts or more, and when they buy that many, because of the price that they will be paying, they will be given the opportunity to put their logo on it. And Hardcore Promotions, I proudly say that because they started last night, so they went ahead and put it out there for their fans. Hey, if you want to represent Hardcore in the Unified Point Series, you know, they're 3 shows deep, so they're one of our biggest supporters.
Sure.
And so Pennsylvania is going to be a heavy player in the series game, and they had texted me last night, and they had already sold over 10, so they're well on their way to balancing out their investment. But they're excited about that. I'm excited about that, and I do appreciate anyone that does take advantage of that, because it solidifies their commitment. It says we are a big player in this, and we support it, and I'm so excited that it's them, and SMW is another one. Why not just throw it out there? I know that Casey, he's been excited about it since day one, and what better? So Pennsylvania is holding it down.
Right on. And we've got the link posted right underneath the show post on the Crash Course page, so it's easy for anybody to find.
Awesome.
That's tuning in tonight. You can just scroll down into the comments on the show post this evening, and the link is right there, easy to find. You can find your way to the pre-orders there. Again, those close next week. What else we got going on?
Well, let's see. You mentioned the website, so I did have a meeting with she calls it One Shot Photography, so she has stepped in not only as a sponsor for the series, but she's also going to participate in the banquet, and the fact that she is going to be building the website, that will give her an opportunity to do some pretty cool things with some of her photography, especially at the banquet. So we got some good ideas brainstorming for that, but happy to have Shannon Davis, and so appreciative of her stepping forward, because there's nothing worse, for me at least, than having something that you really just don't know how to do. It's, you can dig and you can research and you can do your best, but when you cross paths with somebody that just makes you feel like wow, where have you been this whole time? It was the shot of positivity that I needed going into the weekend. That's for sure.
Right on. And going into this weekend, you got some legwork to do. You don't have any derbies coming up until we get to Bluegrass Bash, and you've got 9 drivers right now that are on the entry lists for Bluegrass that have already scored points in the point series, and then with those 10 minivan spots that we're giving away, you've got a number of drivers that are dual entered, which gives you 2 opportunities to score points, but it's only your top score that goes in the books if you dual enter. So some drama shaping up to take shape at event number 3.
Oh man! So the NEDA, John Peck, Top Dog, they reached out and they gave the Unified Series their last 3 spots. So when they rolled out the Derby early on, they communicated the 10 minivan spots that they were going to give away, and then they communicated a few other spots. Well, they had 3 left, and they wanted to be a bigger part of the series, and they know that I like to do interesting things, so they reached out and they allowed us to give away those 3 spots. Now, I wanted the winners of the spots, and it's such a hard show to get in. As soon as he opens that show up, it just fills up. It and I don't know if it's minutes, but it fills up right now, and everybody's always fighting tooth and nail to get in. Sure. So when he did give us that opportunity, I knew what it was going to mean to all the people that's been texting me like, hey, how can I get in? Get me in. But we did a drawing, and it was awesome. It was so. I didn't just want to limit it to, I wanted series drivers, but I didn't want to limit it to drivers that were already qualified, because I wanted to bring in new drivers. So we just did it open, and taking that chance that, you might get somebody, 1, that might not even run, or 2, that's somebody that really doesn't even care about the series. But we got lucky on all 3. Daryl Myers, so he builds out of Steven Sickles' garage. Steven Sickles is running and is a qualified driver, and so you can just imagine them sitting around their garage, and he wins the first one. So they were jumping up and down, and so now they're bringing 2 cars, right? So there's a local guy, Jeremy Hembry. He was excited. He's the type of guy that does really well at all these local shows, and I have a lot of local shows on the schedule, so he was super pumped up. And Wes Moneybreak, he's local as well, and what was cool about him is he has ran the Bluegrass Bash in all previous years, and he didn't get in this year. That's how tight it is. Yeah. He didn't get in, and he's been texting, and he's been wanting in bad, and he was texting me all the way up until the time of the drawing, like, man, come on, man, and I drew his name, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it was meant to be. It was meant to be for him to be there. So that was super exciting. You mentioned those 9 drivers. Jeremy Taylor, so he was in the Smash Wagon that got second to Jeremy Heinen at Florida.
Sure.
He's in Freedom Hall.
Okay.
Travis Pinnock was the winner of
Won compacts in
the
Florida.
mini cars. Yes, he's in. Jeremy Riley was the second place car. They're both in. Michael Kelly won the Redneck Rumble and is always a big contender at Freedom Hall. Barry Passmore Jr. and Caleb Roy. That's the third place team at Florida.
Yep.
They're both in. I already mentioned Sickles, Brad Tussey, the winner of the mini cars at Redneck Rumble, that also lit the crowd up at the end. And Patrick Rankin, I believe, got second at the Redneck Rumble, and Mad Dog. So that's the 9 drivers. I mean, there's a damn good chance that one of those drivers, if they qualify again, it's almost inevitable that they're going to jump out.
Right. They can jump out to a lead, and
Absolutely.
who knows? You could have a handful of them jump out. They got some incentive to win now.
Yeah, you okay.
Got some incentive to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, they just got some incentive to perform. I mean, I don't know if drivers like Steven Sickle internalize additional pressure. You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't seem like a guy that thinks that way. He doesn't feel pressure. You know, there's those guys that are out there that just doesn't affect them. But there's some guys that might start to feel it as things get a little bit deeper here.
100%. So pressure is definitely a variable, and you know, we got to bleed that pressure in life, especially in something like this. And the chance that, as I mentioned earlier, the chance that none of them score again, you know, then we're going to be heading into show number 4, you know, waiting for that breakaway. But what I've seen already, it reminds me of the gold shows I watch on TV.
Okay.
It's like they never really got it until they find that flake of gold, and it's over. And that's what I'm seeing happening with these guys. As soon as they taste some points, it's like it just changed their whole summer. They're like, I'm going for it. So the fact that there's 9 people at the next show, like, I couldn't have handwritten a better script. I'm so excited that that's the case on show number 3. I just pray that it just continues to get better and better and better and better.
At the 10th of the way.
Now it's crazy. Crazy.
You know who would be a real threat in this? Don Santel. You want to talk about a guy that can rack up some points?
Well, with as many races that are there, with as many events as there are on the schedule in Pennsylvania, I was thinking the guy that you really got to wonder about is Mike Klinger.
Oh, yeah.
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 Ooh, yeah. Yeah, because he doesn't usually lose a lot in Pennsylvania.
And there's a couple shows in Eastern Ohio, and he goes down to Virginia. I mean, he's a threat every time he pulls in. And Tiffany, she does okay too.
Yeah, she usually second or beats him. Yes.
and they're locking horns with Steve Sickles. You know, some of these places they're overlapping anyway. They might not be in the same division per se, but you know,
well, he was down to Florida. He was checking stuff out down there.
Yes, he was.
You know, so didn't want to talk on the show because, you know, it's not his thing.
He never does, and that's not his thing, and that's okay. Yeah. The thing is
he'll talk your ear off though, standing there. I've talked to him a lot. It's fun.
He's a super guy. Yeah. Both Tiffany and Mike are great, but Mike is very much the same as Brett.
Yep.
They're going to tell you no every time.
Yeah.
The thing is especially with Brett, while it might be a nuisance, I don't want him to think that we don't acknowledge what he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And he was going to say no, and unfortunately, there's a finite amount of time that we've got for the show. I would have loved to talk to everybody. We tried to hit the story points and give good coverage to WinterSLAM, and we tried to do that for everybody. And I'm sorry if you're upset that we didn't hit on your driver. It's not at all intentional. It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's
sorry.
right.
I guess I don't know. I can't make everybody happy. I've been doing this long enough to know that.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Well, if you want to follow along with all the developments, all the new releases, you can find links to the apparel. You can find links to the website once it's completed. You can also probably find out more information on One Shot Photography if you want to book one shot for one of your own upcoming events. Jump on ME527 announcing. All the data is there. Everything that you need to know about is there now. And then there's going to be more stuff that you're going to want to know about forthcoming. The next event on the schedule is at Freedom Hall. That's Bluegrass Bash. That is the one where we have 9 of the points collecting drivers already registered in a sold-out event. So you could see somebody break away and stand alone as the points leader here at the 1/10 of the way mark. 3 events in with the conclusion of Bluegrass Bash next month in March in a 30-date series. So a lot of action still to come, but we're going to see if maybe we can see one driver jump out ahead of everybody else. And again, you can only score points for one finish, so you take your best if you can finish up there in all 3. And that doesn't hurt the pocketbook at all.
No, that's not a bad night.
I do want to, I know you're closing out. I do want to mention 2 things for 100% before I forget. Mm-hmm. I submitted my first of 12 Demolition Derby Life article. Lexi Droz and what she's doing is absolutely amazing, and it looks like she's just ramped up things even more so than year 1 last year. So the fact that she is on board with us as one of our sponsors and putting us, I don't know, I know it's at least a full page, but I gave her some cool stuff to talk about for the series open, and I can't wait to continue to give her things each month. I ordered my subscription, so that I could see that stuff and hopefully get some more exposure for our sponsors. And she is also working on ideas and details through a program type booklet for the banquet. So I can't wait to see what she comes up with for that. You also mentioned the banner deadline tonight. Thank you for bringing that up, because I definitely want to take just a minute to especially recognize Jacob Prusman of 448 Designs. He does have a Facebook page, 448 Designs, and he makes some bad to the bone wraps, stickers, and all sorts of things. I believe he done Toast, their Florida car, and that was some pretty nice work. But he is he's a monetary sponsor. He is making the banner, and I saw where he purchased shirts yesterday. So he is an all-around supporter of the series, and him, along with everybody else in the Derby world, I cannot thank enough for the support.
And if I recall right, Toast bought a batch of shirts too, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
and you don't even have he doesn't even have an event on the schedule, and he bought a batch of shirts, which is pretty cool.
It means so much. I love him and his wife Andrea. They're great people, and their son, he's just ate up with Demolition Derby, just like we all were when we were little. But for him to get to live the life that he does, talk about a all-star Derby kid life, Toast kid. That's cool.
Well, man, I'm glad everything's going so well. We'll be looking for the links on the website so that we can learn more about that, and looking forward to the next publication of Derby Life Magazine so that you can learn a little bit more about what's going on. Learn about it as if it's presented to you, basically, as if you've never heard about it before. All the details spelled out.
Cool.
Nice and clear. Mark, man, we got to get out of here.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll catch up here in a couple of weeks as more stuff comes out, and we'll be looking for that website.
Fantastic. Hopefully the next time we talk, I'm in a place where we can start communicating a payout. That is on the top of my list.
Little by little. There's no reason to run before you walk.
Yeah, don't get drunk before the ball drops, right?
That's right. Perfect. Mark, man, thanks again for coming on. I'm glad everything's going so well. We'll talk to you soon.
Great. See you, Brian. See you, Chris.
See you now. Bye. Mark Elliott. Covering a lot of ground once again.
Absolutely. Cool thing. It's a very cool thing for the sport.
Yes, it's very good for the sport. What do you think?
I think we should stick a fork in it.
I think so. I guess still got to go get groceries. Kelsey had her kindness presentation this morning, so she and Tammy Arnhorn's class and Mrs. Mann's class. Alan had Mrs. Anhorn back in the day. The two rooms are side by side, and they did a kindness presentation at school. Mm-hmm. So during get-together time this morning, they had a poem that was kindness, and each letter had a sentence, and the group was reading stuff off, and at the end they held up the letters of kindness and spelled kindness across the front of the gym. It was really cool. We got to go to that. It was fun. Nice. And I noticed at that point she's the second tallest kid in her class.
Cool.
Yes.
Nice.
Volleyball.
I don't think you want her to play on volleyball.
Well, her mom played volleyball.
Oh.
Melissa played volleyball, so I think that we would prefer volleyball, but because I think it's going to be a lot tougher for her to get a basketball scholarship than it is volleyball.
Have you seen the uniforms that volleyball girls wear today?
Well, yeah, I have.
I don't think you want your daughter wearing that uniform.
You take the good with the good. Is that,
all right,
is that wrong? Next subject. Is that too far?
Next subject.
Yeah, she likes soccer too. So she was really a fan of kickball, but there's really no Olympic level kickball at this point.
Can't get.
However,
kickball.
she's only 7. By that time, if we're handing out all of the participation medals, we might have kickball or something by then as well.
There's a lot of participation medals. You know what sport doesn't have participation medals? Demolition derby. I kind of like it that way.
False.
We don't.
Youth derbies and Power Wheel derbies usually have goodie bags.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what I'm talking
Not
about.
for adult classes. So, I mean, if you're isolating it to like pro level
competitive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no participation trophies there, but I've definitely seen goodie bags handed. I mean, Power Wheels don't even have a winner.
My mistake.
You know, so maybe it's not maybe that's all they could get is a participation trophy because there's no winner.
Could be. I think we're rambling. Let's put a knife in it.
Okay. Think so?
Think so.
You sure?
Sure.
Final thoughts? Anything? That's it for 308. We'll see everybody next time. Thanks for tuning in. Next week we'll have more talk about Demolition Derby. Hope to see you there. Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.